Are you coming back to school with me? We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson Wood. I'm your host on Teaching with Board Games. Today, taking a look at Edrenaline Rush by John Meehan. So this is the second title that I'm looking at now in my series where I'm now looking at different books we can be reading for more information about gamification, game-based learning, things like that. So the first one I'd looked at was Even Ninja Monkeys Like to Play by Andrzej Marchewski. And that was a great book for learning about the whole science and everything, just what is gamification, really digging deep into that. But that book was not as specifically focused on education. So I was happy to have been led on to this book, which is more, well, it's not more, this is exactly focused on education. John Meehan himself is a teacher and shares a lot of his experiences and practices and things that he does in his own classroom with lots of great ideas for other teachers to be learning from. So let's just get right into it. So the full title of this book is Edrenaline Rush, Game-Changing Student Engagement Inspired by Themed Parks, Mud Runs, and Escape Rooms. And that really leads in nicely to this idea of that's what, to break down this book, that's what you're going to be looking at. The first section of the book is all about theme parks and how he likens educational practices and things we can be doing to the similar experience of a theme park. The second part is all about the mud runs that he's done and how he creates educational experiences similar to that of a mud run. And then finally the escape rooms and how he creates escape room situations in the classroom. Let's just get right into the first part, which is the theme parks. So in the theme park section, he starts off, he's talking a lot about Disney, and he really shows himself to be a very knowledgeable person about Disney history, Disney trivia, things like that. And at first I was getting a little bit like, okay, I get it, you love Disney. And I really wasn't buying into some of the ideas that he was talking about in there. I mean, he was equating different practices that you could be doing, saying, well, this activity is similar to this kind of thing, so replace this activity you do in your classroom with it. So an example would be where he's talked about doing like an activity called a text quest and making that similar to the theme of it all. It makes it similar to entering the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney. So the entering the before the ride is part of the experience as well. So just okay. And then there's a game called Don't Break the Ice, and he was, you know, equating that to like whack-a-mole. And as you're tapping the bricks, you're supposed to be answering questions, trying to knock out your opponent before they knock you out. And so again, I was like, okay, I guess I can kind of see it. So a lot of these different ideas, and without any sort of real application of it, like I said, at first I wasn't buying into it. But then he got into this part of the book where he talked about his one of his early years, maybe even his first year, and he was teaching the unit on Animal Farm. And the way he themed his classroom, and the way he conducted the education, I'm not going to spoil it for you. You'll have to read it because I was absolutely floored. I was blown away, and at that point I was hooked. I thought, okay, this guy really does have some great ideas here and some good things going on, and I could see then how some of these things could tie into that. So in the theme park section, it's a lot of tying in the idea of the theme of the theme park, you know, making sure that you have ideas that all kind of correlate to making something more exciting, more fun than just the plain old experience. And then how you tie in those things into the theme is how it's going to make those things be more successful than if they're just done in isolation from the theme. So that was my take on that one. So in the second part, he's talking about mud runs, and in the mud runs, he talks about his own experiences through the Tough Mudder competitions. And in the Tough Mudder competitions, there's all the inspiration and the obstacles and the different difficult things that they're doing, but it's all very much about the growth mindset, that it's not necessarily about finishing first, it's just about finishing and doing your personal best. And so to that end, then, one thing he's done is he's provided links to it as well, because that's one thing I will say about this book, is it provides a lot of resources in here. He provides a lot of resources, a lot of links and things to share with you to help you through some of these things if you choose to use them. And so you have access to those through the book here. So I thought that was quite wonderful. But to help you do your personal best, and what he's done, he's designed these rubrics, much like a spider web, and showing where are your strengths, where are your weaknesses, and then being able to pinpoint. Students can then pinpoint their areas to say, these are the things that I now know I need to work on. So helping students to do that is and equating that to the Tough Mudder competition. He then also has badges, which is a very common gamification tool to employ badges. So badges for different achievements that the students have accomplished, and that again can help them to see their growth, to take pride in that, and just some people are very motivated by that as well. So I thought that was a really nice tie-in with the badges into one way that he's using it through this idea of the Tough Mudder stuff that he's doing. And then finally, in the Tough Mudder, one thing he talks about is the necessity of teamwork to be able to accomplish the goals of the thing. In fact, some obstacles in the Tough Mudder competition are impossible to do without people helping you. And so in that way as well, he talks about inspiring teamwork and teamwork activities and things that would then again tie into that whole idea of the mud run. So a lot of great ideas in there, and I'll let you explore those for yourself. And the last section is all about the escape rooms. Just like real life escape rooms, the students are going to have a series of puzzles that they need to solve in order to earn keys. So now these escape rooms that are created can be physical, so you can create a whole series of drop some maps and copies of things and make physical keys, have boxes or whatever you want to do, however elaborate you want to get with it. But one thing I loved, especially now with everything that's going on with the virtual learning, and I myself being teaching online, is that he says this can quite easily be done too through the use of Google Forms. Because to Google Forms, what you can do is that you can have like the first question, but until the students answer exactly the right answer, it won't show them the next question. So that in that way you can be unlocking the questions as you go. They're not going to be able to proceed until they unlock the first challenge and each subsequent challenge after that. So I thought that was quite clever, and it's something that I'm looking forward to doing myself. I'm actually in the process of planning one right now for my energy unit in science, which I will be sharing on my Facebook page and Twitter and such. So if you would like to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, you can look me up on there, Teaching with Board Games. I will, when it's done, I guess I can post a link here as well. So if you're watching this in sometime in the future, because I'm not finished it yet, but if you're watching this in the future and you see this, then you can always access that as well and see what I've come up with for my first attempt at an escape room, an online escape room, no less. And what's really nice is that not only does he give you a lot of different ideas and resources and some examples of things that he's done, but he has a whole section in there on setting up your first escape room and sort of really walking you through step by step on how to do that. Because I think for some people that might be the most intimidating part. Well, I have no idea what to do. He's going to walk you through it step by step. So it's all going to be okay. Just get the book and figure it out. Let me take you to my final thoughts. So let me just start off by saying that I think it's pretty clear from what I've said about the book already. I think this is a great book, and I think for anybody who's a teacher, I think this is absolutely one that you should be having. I've even recommended to my school that they be purchasing a copy of this book for our library for teachers to be able to access for any ideas that they want to employ in their classrooms. I also plan to be, once I have a bit more knowledge and ideas of some of the things that are in here, that I will be sharing those ideas through workshops and things with my colleagues at my school, plus any co-workers and colleagues in the Field District School Board or whoever can attend. I mean, this is something that I plan to be implementing a lot more in my own practice and hoping to be able to share with other people as well. And certainly making reference back to this book, because I think that John Meehan's doing a wonderful job here with the all that he's doing for the gamification of education. So yes, I do recommend buying this book. And like I said earlier too, what I really love about this is that the whole book is really focused on that idea of gamification of education. So rather than some other books which may be more general about gamification, or maybe just be about education but not so much about the gamification, maybe lighter on that side, this one is specifically focused on gamification of education with specific examples, specific ideas, and really kind of leads you through. And it's just it's one of those things. I mean, I look at, there's so many ideas in here. It's like asking somebody for advice and they just flood you with ideas that you don't even know where to begin. Well, that's a little bit how I feel right now. But what I've chosen to do is I've chosen to start with that escape room. That's where I'm going to begin, and I'm going to do that and see how that goes. And take it from there. Like some of the other ideas he's used, I have done myself in my own way, and but there's some other things that he's doing that either I haven't done or I like the way he's doing it as opposed to the way that I'm doing it. So I may try and modify some things. But I mean, this is all the process of learning and teaching, is that we're constantly developing, constantly refining our practice, and there's just so many ideas here. There's so many ideas in here of things that I could be doing and things I could be doing differently, that I just think this is an absolute treasure. So if you're new to the channel, then what I'm doing is I'm putting up content on a weekly basis here on gamification, game-based learning, games and how they can be used in the classroom, and I review certain games which I feel have good educational value in the classroom. If this sounds good to you, then please do remember to hit like and subscribe down below. It really does help, and I do appreciate that. If you have any questions about anything you've seen on this channel, whether it's about this book or about other things you've seen, please leave me a message down below. I do love to hear from the viewers, and I do get back as quickly as I can in response. And of course, if you have any other ideas for books I might read or games I might review or topics you might like me to cover, leave me that message down below and I'll be happy to read it and get back to you. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. Until next time, I am Craig Thompson Wood, your host on Teaching with Board Games, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school?